Oh, hello. Welcome to Gourmet. Today we'll be making a classic Saffron Stained Tahdig from Start Here by Sohla El-Waylly. Now you might be asking, what is a tahdig? It's a Persian rice dish, and what it is the outside rice gets super crunchy. Ideally, like this picture here. Where's my light? Nope. There we go. That one. So our first step for this recipe is to measure out our rice, rinse it until you can kind of see your hand through the water and it's pretty clear, and then let that sit for 15 minutes or up to 2 hours, kind of soaking with the rice. So that's where we are. I went ahead, already rinsed out the rice, and now we're letting it soak for 15 minutes. We have our rice that is soaked, and now we are going to add this to our boiling water. This is when I realized that I don't have quite the right pot for this recipe, but I've always wanted to make one of these, and even the cookbook says you need kind of like a lightweight aluminum pan, non-stick, and we're just going with what I have. I don't really know what else to say. So this might not come out great, but I'm excited. I've always wanted to try it. What we're going to do is we're just going to put our soaked rice into the boiling water, and hopefully in about 7 minutes, according to the recipe, it will be parboiled, and we can move on to the next step. So it's been about 4 minutes. Our rice is right where it should be according to the recipe, kind of more like an al dente pasta. It only boiled over twice, so I think that was a success. Now we're gonna go rinse this off, drain it, kind of get all of the cooking water out, and set it aside. Welcome back. We've cleaned everything, which took a lot longer than I thought it would. I made a huge mess. But now what we're gonna do is, in a small mortar and pestle, we're gonna grind some saffron and some sugar and add some water to it to create like a saffron tea. I don't own a mortar pestle, so we're making this up as I go, but I do have a bowl and I have a spoon and faith, so that's what we're gonna use today. Let me see. Okay, so this is saffron. As some of you guys probably know, this is quite an expensive herb to be using, or spice. I don't know. It's not cheap, but it is a nice flavor profile. I don't use it a lot because it is expensive, and I've never bought it myself. I always get it as a gift. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So that's where this one came from. And I'm gonna... Okay, so don't waste any of it. If you've got it, don't waste it. And then I'm gonna add some sugar into this and some hot water, and start meddling it. Let's get our sugar. And this, we actually are gonna measure today because I'm trying my best with this one. I really, really am. I want it to come out well. Unlike the other ones, I have no idea what I'm doing. The other ones, you can kind of, the recipes I've made so far, kind of see where they're going throughout the cooking process. It's something that I might not have made before, but I've sort of made. This is so brand new that we really are trying to follow the recipe step by step. But doing it our own way because we just don't have everything. So now I'm just taking a spoon, a nice wooden spoon, and kind of combining these guys together. Okay, I'm gonna call that there. I've, wrecked the bottom of the spoon, but whatever, that's what we use it for. Okay, so I've got some warm water we're gonna pour into this. Ooh. I'm gonna get a spoon. You would think that I would be more prepared than I am, but I'm not. And we're just going to dissolve the sugar into the warm water. It really doesn't smell like much. I thought it would. Okay. Okay. So we have our egg yolk in our bowl. And now we're going to add some Greek yogurt. I hate yogurt. I don't hate yogurt in things, let's be honest. I don't hate yogurt in things. I hate yogurt by itself. I've never been able to just eat yogurt. Okay, we got our yogurt. We'll add a tablespoon of our saffron tea, which I think we're just gonna call that a tablespoon. We added 2 tablespoons of water, so if we add half of it, that's half of the saffron tea. And then we need ghee. And ghee is just clarified butter, for those of you who don't know. So it's more expensive, but it doesn't have the like butter fat in it, or the like butter particles, so it's not going to burn as easily. And we need 3 tablespoons of this. Perfect. Ghee is not something that I normally use. I just use butter, but I have used it before. It is nice. No complaints on it. And this, what we're doing right now actually, is making like a paste that we're going to add some of the rice into. And that is what's going to help make the crust on the dish. Get to combining. What's fun though is like, saffron is red, but when you add it to things, it becomes yellow. And I just think that's a fun little fact that not everybody may know or be aware of. Okay, and now we're adding 1.5 cups of our rice. Let's go ahead and add our rice to the bowl. And I'm just going to scoop out a cup and a little more than half a cup, because that's what came out. And then we'll go ahead mix this together. Now the rice, so this part of the rice, I didn't say this in the recipe, but this part of the rice could be made up to 2 days in advance per the recipe. So if you don't want to do all the early stuff and all of the like cleaning that I've done in between, I suggest making this ahead of time. That's probably what I would have done if I was making this just on my own, but since I wanted to make it with you guys, I thought let's do it from the top. And so far, everything's going well. I think I'm excited to see how this goes. And then we've mixed our rice into our little mixture, and then we'll add that in the bottom in a second. Okay guys, so we've got our rice in the pan. And now I'm just gonna even it out and get the whole bottom of our pan covered, or our pot, I guess. And you want an even layer. So it's not gonna necessarily go super high up the sides on this one. I'm guessing, you know, like, should you want more of the crust, you just make more of the crust. This is the first one I've ever made, so we're really following by the book. Okay, so we've got this all done. It's nice. It's one even layer. the next thing we're going to do is add some cranberry craisins, dried cranberries, um, into our rice. Um, the recipe did say you could add barberries, currants, or cranberries. I couldn't find fresh cranberries. I couldn't find currants. I don't know what a barberry is. So I found dried cranberries. Is this the same thing? No. But I think it'll be kind of similar. I think it's maybe going to be a little more tart than it's supposed to be, but that's okay. But we're going to go ahead, add some of those into there, and then mix this around as best as possible. Why am I using my hand? I don't know. Your hands are nature's utensil. Folded our cranberries into the rest of the rice, and now it says to pour it in here, making sure it doesn't touch the sides. I think that's going to be impossible, so we might just have some leftover rice, which is fine. And it says just to make a mountain, but make sure it doesn't touch the sides. So I'm making a mountain, and it definitely is touching the sides, but that's fine. It's not really, I mean, you guys can see. No, you can't. So it looks like it's touching the sides a lot more than it is. And maybe I'll give you flyover. I don't know. But let's just get this little bit out. Pat that down. I'm going to wash my hands. Move this bowl somewhere else. And we'll be right back. I guess I'll show you. See, it's not really touching the sides. It is a little bit, but we're just right above that bottom layer that's supposed to get nice and crusty. So now we're going to use a chopstick to poke a hole in the center, and it's supposed to go just above the layer of with like the ghee and everything in it. And so that's what I've done. And now we're going to melt the ghee, and then we're going to drizzle it on top. We're also going to drizzle some of our warm water and the rest of our saffron tea. And then this is just where it gets dangerous, because once those steps are done, then it all comes down to like listening and smelling. And fingers crossed that we did everything right. So let me go ahead, add my warm water. It just is worrisome. Let's go ahead. Okay, so that was super quick. We've got melted ghee. I'm just going to pour that all over. I don't know if there's a particular way to do it. It just says drizzle. So we're drizzling. Same with our saffron. Okay. Or we're going to pour all of that in one spot on accident. Oh boy. But I am going to scrape out this, and there we go. So this is what we've got. Now we've got to figure out how to cover a pot lid and put it on top. Okay, so now we've got our lid ready to go on. According to the recipe, it's kind of so that any moisture from the rice doesn't go back into the pot. So it's going to help get that really nice crust on the bottom that we're looking for. I'm just going to set that on top. Make sure we've got our lid on, and turn it to medium heat. And per the recipe, we wait 40 to 45 minutes to see what is happening. Now, since this is my first time, I'm going to follow what the recipe suggests. And, at 25 minutes, I guess I should get in frame. At 25 minutes, I'm going to come back and kind of check in on this and see how it's doing. Um, knowing full well that there should be about 20 more minutes left of this. But this is what is going to look like for the next at least 40 minutes. So it's been about 25 minutes. We are definitely not ready. You can kind of tell that. It smells just like melted butter. It doesn't smell like a lot of like browning is happening. But you know, it's good to check it. Um, we've got about 20 more minutes to go on this one, but this is our 25-minute check-in as promised. Okay, so it's been a little bit over for another 20 minutes. But for the recipe, we were waiting for the simmering to go away and for it to smell like it's toasted. And I think we are right there. So we're going to go ahead, take the top off, and set it aside. And then we are going to turn it off and get a little spatula to see if we can get it. But I think looking at it, I think we got it. I think we got it. Okay, so I'm going to use an offset spatula just to see if the bottom is crispy. Seems like we got it. So I'm going to start scooping out the rest of this rice, and then I guess flip it over and see if we have it. See if we got that nice crusty rice layer. Most of our rice is out now. Actually, that looks pretty good. I really don't know what I mean, it looks like rice, but okay. This is what I'm excited about. This is what I don't know how to get out. Do you think we can just flip it on top of this? I'm gonna do it. Do we think 1, 2, 3, flip? Oh. No. Okay. Do we think... Uh-oh. Maybe I went a little too far. Or maybe my nonstick is not nonstick enough. Uh-oh. Okay. You can see, that looks lovely. But I am sticking to the bottom of this, so I might have burnt it. A little. Definitely probably more brown than you're supposed to be. Look at that. But you know what? This is our first time, right? Like, we give ourselves grace. I just have it sitting in the bowl. I'm going to go ahead and try a piece. I'll take a small piece. Do this. It was very good. It's got such a nice... I wish it worked out. I wish I had done it. Everybody fights over the bottom, I bet. That is good. I can't really describe the flavor. Besides, you can tell it has saffron in it. And if you've had saffron, you kind of know, like a heavy pinch of saffron, you know that taste. I don't really know what to compare that to, but I think it's good overall. I don't know what I'm going to do with all this rice. But let's go ahead and rate this one. So, ingredient-wise, easy to find. Yes, I didn't find cranberries. I found craisins. But other than that, nothing was hard to find. I think following the recipe, I didn't get tired halfway through, and especially if you do the parboiling of the rice ahead of time, makes this one way easier. Execution, it was advanced, and I think it was advanced. It was hard to tell that I was going too far. And, you know, like I said, just too far by a couple minutes. But that'll do it. Overall, I'd probably give this one a 7. I think I would make it again. I would probably do a little bit of adjusting to it. But
That's okay. I think that there's a lot you can really do with this. I think it's kind of a fun idea. Yeah, that's it. So I'll see you later. Bye.